mathematicians. Today we are learning about the fundamental counting principle. So in order to find the fundamental counting principle, we start with the number of possibilities for event 1, and then we multiply by the number of possibilities for event number 2, and that equals the number of total options. So that is our fundamental counting principle. So our first example. Find the total number of outcomes when choosing from bike helmets that come in 3 colors and 2 styles. So our event 1 is going to be one of our options. So what is our first option? Right, colors. So how many possibilities do we have for colors? 3. So our first event is going to be 3. So we're going to multiply by our second event. What is our second event in this example? The styles of helmets. And how many options, how many possibilities do we have for styles? 2. So 3 is our colors, that's our number of possibilities for our first event, times 2, which is our possibilities for styles of helmets. So we multiply 3 times 2, what do we get? 6. So we have 6 total number of options for helmets. Our next example. Find the number of possibilities when choosing a sub, like a sub sandwich that you get at Subway, with wheat, white, or rye bread, with turkey or chicken, and Swiss or American cheese. So how many total events do we have in this one? How many different options do we have? We should have 3. We have bread, that's 1. We have meats, that's number 2. And then our last one is cheese, that's number 3. So we're going to have 3 events that we're going to multiply. So our first category of events was bread. How many different possibilities of bread do we have? 3. We have wheat, white, or rye. That's 3. So event number 2, category number 2 was meat. So how many options for meat did we have? 2, turkey or chicken. So we're going to put a 2. And our last category was cheese. So how many possibilities of cheese did we have? 2, Swiss or American. So we're going to have 3 times 2 times 2. So we have 3 times 2 is what? 6. And 6 times 2 is what? 12. So we have 12 total possibilities for sub sandwiches. So our next example, find the number of possible outcomes if 4 dice are rolled. So we have 4 dice, so that means we're going to have 4 events. So we should have 4 lines. We're going to multiply them all together. So that's what we do in the fundamental counting principle. All right, so for dice number 1, how many possible outcomes can we have? 6. We have 6 sides of a dice, so we have 6 outcomes for the first dice. Now, it doesn't say anything about repeating numbers, so we can just continue on and pretend that the first one doesn't affect the second one. So, second dice, how many outcomes can we have? 6 again. Third dice, how many outcomes can we have? 6 again. Fourth dice, how many outcomes can we have? 6 again. So go ahead and punch 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 in your calculator. What'd you get? Looks like 2,376 possible outcomes for 4 dice rolled. All right, on to our last example. What is the probability of rolling all ones when we have 4 dice? So we still have 4 dice. We're still going to multiply them all together. But we want all ones. So for our first dice, what is the probability of rolling a 1? So this one we're going to have a fraction. So on bottom is our total. What's our total number of possibilities? 6. And how many sides of a dice is number 1? Just 1. All right, so we should have 1 over 6 for all of our different options. All right, when we are multiplying fractions, straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So we'll do that for all of them. So on top we will have 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. And the bottom we have 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Hey, we just figured that out in the last example. So on the bottom we should have 2,376. So our probability of rolling all ones when we have 4 dice is 1 over 2,376. So we just have to remember when we're doing the fundamental counting principle, we take the number of possibilities for event 1 times the number of possibilities for event 2 and keep going if we have more events, and that will equal the total number of options.